Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here and welcome back to the railway and welcome back to a long awaited running day. And I say that just because I've done a lot of reviews and other different sort of things recently, and it's been quite a long time since I've just done a classic running day, so I thought today is what that would be. I'm going to be showing you blue locomotives today of all different kinds. And I'm not just focusing on one company, I've got all different kinds of blue liveries on locomotives today. So I've got Caledonian Blue, LNER Blue, LMS Blue, and of course BR Blue. And the first loco I'm going to show you is in fact BR Blue, so I'll take you over and we'll go and see it. And this is of course the very recognisable King class from the Great Western Railway. So originally you would have expected to see these in green, but of course this one's BR, so it's in BR Blue. Which is very nice, as you can see. It's King George VI and it's running number 6028. A gorgeous 460 there. I'll tell you all about her once we get her running, but she is going to be pulling a nice rake of Pullman coaches. There's 4 of the Hornby ones there, and then right on the end I've got a smaller Wren one, but you know, it's a Pullman coach, so I thought we'd get it running. And I'm just going to open the points very quickly. There we go. And I'll head over to the controller and I'll give her a little bit of juice. And hopefully she'll take those coaches out of there nicely. So let's see how that goes. Yes, a beautiful smooth performance there from the Hornby King class, of course. Okay, so she's up to a bit of a better speed now, and while she runs around for a little while, I thought I'd just tell you a bit about it. So the King class, also known as the Great Western 6000 class, was designed by Charles Collett, and in fact it just resembled a larger Castle class really, with a few alterations of course. The loco was very unique because of its front bogie, I suppose, and that's because the front set of bearings are on the outside rather than on the inside, so I've remarked on it before really. If you do look at the front bogie, you can see that it is quite strange looking. But they were very successful locos, and there were 30 of them produced roughly, and it was the most powerful 460 in the UK apparently, in terms of tractive force, and there are only 3 preserved, so roughly 1 in 10 preserved, which I suppose is quite good, and they are fantastic locos. So enjoy this one a little bit longer, and then I'll introduce you to the second engine. Alright, so I'm just going to stop her just there then, and of course she will run again in a second alongside the second locomotive of the day. And I'm going to go and introduce you to her right now, so here she is. And this one is a beautiful A4 Pacific locomotive painted in LNER blue, and it's running number 4498, which is Sir Nigel Gresley. And she's a fantastic, quite old now, but quite reliable Hornby loco, and she's pulling quite a big rake of 5 teak coaches, what else? And yeah, I think we'll get her running straight away, to be honest. So let me just get these points for a start. There we go. And I'll go and give her some juice, and we'll see how she gets on hauling all those coaches. Hopefully she'll manage to do it. So yeah, let's see what happens. Yep, not the smoothest performance ever, but she's managed it. I'll just shut these points. There we go. So there she goes anyway, Sir Nigel Gresley, going at quite some considerable speed there, I suppose. And there's quite a good reason for that. Because of course she did belong to the world's fastest class of steam locomotive, which is of course the A4. They were designed by Sir Nigel Gresley, and they were heavily based on his A1, which is of course similar to the Flying Scotsman and whatnot. In total there were 35 produced, and 6 of them preserved, including this one, which is Sir Nigel Gresley. But of course the most famous is of course the Mallard, and of course that's the one that broke the world record. So yeah, I'll leave her running for a little while and get some more shots around the room, and then I'll start up the King as well and let them run together. Alright, so I'm going to restart the King to run alongside her. Obviously a totally different locomotive really, but I thought it would be nice to get some shots of them running together alongside each other. So there she goes, with the Pullman coaches of course, looking very, very smart as always. Of course the King's a little bit slower, and she is naturally as well, the locomotive is, but she still looks pretty good on the lines I think. They're quite a pair, aren't they? But yeah, I thought it would be nice to get the Pullman coaches out, even if that end one is a bit wobbly. Okay, so I'm going to have a go at putting this King class back into the siding where she came from, with all those coaches of course. So I'm just going to stop her just beyond the point, which I think should be fine there. And I've just got to open it of course. Hang on. There we go. And Sir Nigel is still whizzing round, but we'll deal with him in just a second. Or her I should say. And let's see how the King gets on then. Hopefully none of these Pullman coaches are going to derail. There we go. And here's Sir Nigel Gresley again, showing off. There we go. That's her sorted then. So let's go and deal with Nigel and put her back into a siding somewhere. Okay, so I'll just flick this switch and then I'll head off and slow the engine down and, well, you can keep an eye out for me and see if she derails or not. Hopefully not. Well, for the most part that was pretty good, that was quite successful. We have one minor derailment, and by minor I mean somebody's probably got a very bad headache after bouncing all over those sleepers. But no damage done, and she's back in her siding, which means we can move on and I can show you the next couple of locos. And next up, it's another BR Blue locomotive, and it's of course the beautiful B12 locomotive, again. And I realised I had her in the spotlight not too long ago, and she was running around and whatnot, but I just thought she's far too nice not to run in this video. So, yep, this is the B12 in BR Blue, X number 61525. And she's got a medium-sized rake of 4 blood and custard coaches, most of which you can't see because they're hidden behind the scenery or whatnot. But if I get the points open, I shall give her a little bit of forwards motion and we'll get her out, and then hopefully you'll be able to see those coaches a little bit better as she goes round. So let me grab that point and let's give her a little bit of juice. And she's a very, very happy runner, as you can see, and she's made all the better with that chuffing sound from the tender, of course. But in real life, the B12s were express passenger locomotives, which were originally designed by SD Holden, and they were built between 1911 and 1928, so a big long production run there. There were 81 in total back in the day, and one has been preserved, and the class was altered quite a lot during the years, but it was originally called the GER, which is the Great Eastern Railway, I believe, class S69. So And she's a fantastic runner, and I think she does look pretty good with those coaches. And of course she pulls them without a problem. Alright, so I'll stop her there. And I'll let her wait there for a little while I introduce you to the next loco, which is coming up now. And now something for all the Triang fans out there, and this is something completely different really. This one is the Caledonian Singlewheeler, and as you can see it's in the Caledonian Blue livery. And I realise you can't see her too well there, she's sort of hidden behind the various buildings and whatnot. But she is a very popular loco here on the channel. You know, she always gets a lot of attention when I show her, so I thought it would be good to do that. She's now got some proper coaches, Caledonian coaches, as you can see there's one just popping out of the tunnel there. I do have 4 of those in total, but she, as you'll see in a moment when she pulls them out, has just got 2 because all 4 was a little bit too much. So I've just stuck 2 on there. And hopefully that should look pretty good. So I'll just grab the points and then I'll drive her out of there for you, and hopefully she won't stall on the points. Okay, let's give that a try. There we go, a little bit rough, but she's managed it. Alright, so she's running quite happily there. I know she's going quite fast. I'm trying not to let her belt round too much. But when you run this, it's a bit of a balancing act really, because if she goes too slowly she'll stop on the points. But obviously there is a danger that she will fly round. But in real life, the locomotive was known as the Caledonian Single, number 123, and it was built in 1886 by Nielsen and Company, and in fact was the only one of its kind. It was completely unique. It had a top speed of roughly 56 miles an hour, and eventually ran for the LMS as a 1P. I believe it just did express passenger services and that sort of thing. It's still around today, but it's on static display, it doesn't run anymore. And it's on display at the Riverside Museum in Glasgow, so that's the story of the Caledonian 123. Okay, and here goes the B12 again then to run alongside her. Again, a very different locomotive, but still, they look pretty good together, so here they go. And it's pretty noisy in here. You can't really hear the chuffing of the B12 anymore, but you know, you get to the point where you do quite enjoy the sound of a noisy motor after a while. Alright, so I'm just going to slow the B12 down there then, and I'll stop her just beyond those points, and I'll change them, and then I'll throw her back into that siding as gently as I can, and then after that we'll deal with the Caledonian. But here comes the B12 now. There we go, that worked pretty well, and let's just shut that point as well, of course, because I don't want her to jerk into life again when I start the next loco up. And it's very much the same drill with the Caledonian 123, so if I just bring her to a stop, yeah, about there should be alright, and I'll just flick that point open. There we go, and then hopefully she'll have the strength to back those coaches back into the siding where she came from. So here we go, nice and slowly. There we go, perfect. Okay, now we can move on then. And so next up, it's the immediately recognisable Tornado, which is a peppercorn class A1, number 60163, and she's absolutely fabulous, of course, in that BR Blue. And she's going to be pulling some brown and cream coaches, 7 of those, with a full brake on the end there, and hopefully she'll look great with those. So let me just flick those points for you, and let's give her a little bit of juice and see if she'll haul those 7 coaches from that siding. So here's a little bit of juice, and let's hope she can do it. I think she can. She did do earlier, so there we go. Brilliant smooth performance there. And yeah, she always seems to look really great with a big rake of coaches for some reason. So yeah, that's Tornado anyway. And she was actually built in 2008, and she was based on the Peppercorn Class A1, of which no originals did survive. And it actually took 14 years to finish Tornado, and the class in fact was first seen 60 years earlier than 2008, in 1948. And of course Tornado could still be running today on the various heritage lines, and I think she does some mainline running as well, doesn't she? But as you can see, she's a really grand looking locomotive. And of course it's always lovely to hear about new Pacifics coming out. So yeah, there she goes anyway, looking fantastic. I'll stop her in just a second, and then I'll show you the last loco that I'm going to run for you today. Okay, so I'll just bring her to a halt then behind King George, and while she waits there I will show you the final loco that I'll run for you today. And she is Stania's beautiful coronation class, and of course this time it's in LMS blue. And the locomotive is Princess Alexandra, which is running number 6224, and she's pulling quite a big rake once again of 5 LMS Coronation Scott coaches, which always look really great with her pulling them. But obviously you can't see her too great there because she's hidden behind a beam partially. So I'll flick those points and we'll see about getting her out, shall we? So there she goes anyway. So yes, the coronation class, it was designed by William Stania, and they were built between 1937 and 1948, and they were actually Stania's last class of Pacifics that he ever designed, and they were extremely successful, far more so in fact than the older Princess Royal class that he built. 38 examples were produced over those years, and 3 have made it into preservation, but sadly the rest were scrapped. And as you can see, this one, Princess Alexandra, this model at least, had streamlining on it, but some of them had that removed, and some of them I believe didn't have it at all. So there are quite a few different kinds of coronation class, and of course the ones that aren't streamlined do look quite a bit different. But of course they're all the same underneath. So yep, there she goes. Okay, and here goes Tornado again then for one last run. There she goes. And they really are superb, aren't they, these two? I admit I sort of saved my best until last. But they're all good, you know, but I think these two probably have the edge, don't they, just about. Well then, that's about it everybody. That's my day with 6 blue locomotives of all different shapes and sizes, and it's been quite good fun actually. You know, there's nothing better than just choosing a whole load of locos and coaches and just getting them all to run. So if you enjoyed it as well, please don't hesitate to leave a like or even a comment on the video, because I do love to hear some feedback from you guys, and it's always great to get into discussions. And otherwise, you can check out the Facebook or Twitter pages at facebook.com/samstrains or twitter.com/samstrains, and it would be really great to see you on there. But for now, I'll say thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a nice day, and I will see you all really soon. Cheers everybody.